And is this a first time at the Dharma Bum Temple for anyone here? 1, 2, okay, welcome. And welcome to everyone. So just start, looks like it's just starting. So welcome to everyone, all one of you, online. So, so we're going to do, I'll have a short introduction. Is anyone completely new to Zen meditation? Okay, nobody, great. So we'll have just a quick introduction or reminder maybe for some people of the format of Zen meditation. And then we'll have a 20-minute silent meditation, and then a little talk, and then another meditation. And so for Zen, as most of you know, it's a silent meditation as opposed to a guided meditation. So I will not be talking during the 20-minute silent meditation. Posture is probably one of the most important things with meditation. If you're in a cushion, or so you guys look like you're doing it right. If you're most people are seated, which is fine. You're welcome to come up and get a cushion. It's helpful to have the hips raised above the knees, and if you want to, sometimes they suggest kind of scooting up in the chair so that you're not leaning back. And so it's important to keep an upright spine, and try to relax, but keep an upright spine, and your gaze and your head aligned with your ears and your shoulders. So it's all about staying alert and present in the moment. So you don't want to slouch. We tend to like doze off, or so the posture is important. The hands, most Zen centers recommend putting your left palm resting on your right palm and your thumbs lightly touching. Kind of call it the cosmic mudra. And it's just another technique to help keep you alert. And if we're dozing off, sometimes I'll check halfway through, where are my thumbs? If they're kind of slouching, I might be slouching. And so just one more tool, I guess you could say. Then breathing is another key aspect of Zen meditation, and some Zen centers really focus on breathing in and breathing out. Some places suggest to count, especially if you're new, counting one and then, or breathing in and then counting 1 on the out breath, in, 2 on the out breath, and up to 10. And if you get lost or can't remember what number you're on, just start back at 1 again. And otherwise you can just focus on your breath without counting, or just focus on being present, let your breathing just breathe naturally, and just notice your in-breath and your out-breath. And the other thing would be your mind. So when you don't have you're not listening to a guided meditation, often we can go off and listen to whatever story is going on in our mind. And so it's natural for your mind to think thoughts. We do it all day long, and it's a good thing. But in Zen meditation, the goal is to quiet down the mind, to quiet the thoughts, and some people say think of thoughts as clouds passing by. So the idea is not to attach to or cling to the thought or the story. You can recognize it and not entertain it. And it might just, for 20 minutes, it might keep coming up. People might have had a busy day or a stressful day, and whatever happened today, those thoughts can keep coming back. And part of the reason we call practice is that we're just practicing to still the mind, and kind of like the child who's running all over the place, and you're saying, okay, it's quiet time now, time to sit down. And so it's kind of like what we're doing with our mind, is taking control or taming the mind. I think those are the main points that I wanted to get across. But so we'll go ahead and do 20 minutes of silent meditation. And I'll ring the bell 3 times to start, and then once to, at the 20 minutes, I'll ring the bell once. Okay. So, we'll have a little talk here. This book is one of the first books that I got when I first started practicing Zen Buddhism and meditation. It's called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by Shunryu Suzuki. And he's a Japanese monk, or he's no longer living, but he came over to the U.S. and to San Francisco in the, I believe it was the early 60s or late 50s. And he, I believe his original intention was to help facilitate the Zen community, the Soto Zen community, the Japanese Soto Zen community in San Francisco. But in the 60s, there were so many hippies that were interested in Zen and meditation that he ended up getting this huge following of hippies. And he ended up he established the San Francisco Zen Center, which is like huge now. I don't know how many people live there. And he founded the Tassajara Mountain Zen Center, and I think a little, kind of not too far from Big Sur. And anyhow, I would have loved to have met him because he's really funny. Most of this book is about his talks. So that people had recorded his talks, and so they made a book. Just the introduction of the book talks about Zen mind and beginner's mind. And I know in the past, I've asked people what comes to mind when you hear the word Zen. So now I'm going to ask, what comes to mind when you hear the word, or when you hear Zen mind? So can anybody say a word or two?
Maybe quiet mind.
Quiet mind.
Calm mind.
Calm mind. Exactly. Yeah. So Zen commonly signifies calmness, serenity, stillness, and so Zen mind is a state of being fully present, free from the constraints of the ego, and open to the wisdom of the universe. A state of pure awareness, unclouded by judgment, fear, or desire, which that last part reminded me of the three poisons in Buddhism. There's the three poisons, they call it, is greed, hatred, and delusion, or greed being lust, and not necessarily a sexual lust, could be a sexual lust, but it could be a lust of greed and lust kind of go together. It could be a lust for money or fame or power, or hatred is another word. Anger. We think, oh, I'm not hateful. I don't hate anybody. But how often do you get angry, and fester? Or delusion, also known as ignorance. I think you know everything and that kind of stuff. So Zen mind is being free, or having less of those poisons prevalent in your life. And then how about beginner's mind? Can anybody, what do you think of when you hear beginner's mind in relation to, I guess, anything, but in relation to Zen and practice?
I think it's opposite of Zen. When you start, it's just going through to make your mind become calmer.
Okay.
So not calm mind, probably.
Right. That's a good, I like that. Yeah.
I'm just going to add like open or adventurous.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Open mind or
Open-minded,
adventurous. Like
you're being open. Yeah.
Inquisitive.
Inquisitive. Yeah, right. Curious.
Curious.
Cluttered.
Cluttered. Yeah, right. there was someone who came into another class a couple weeks ago who the teacher asked, why, I think he asked something like, why do people come, or what brought you here today? And this young guy said, I need help. And it's like, you know, it was his first time here. So I like that. Beginner's mind refers to having an attitude of openness, eagerness, and a lack of preconceptions when studying, even at an advanced level, just as a beginner would. So, so Zen is one of those enigmatic, which I had to look up, means mysterious, difficult to understand. So Zen is one of those enigmatic phrases used by Zen teachers. Zen mind is one of those enigmatic phrases used by Zen teachers to make you notice yourself, to go beyond the words and wonder what your own mind and being are. This is the purpose of all Zen teaching, to make you wonder and to answer that wondering with the deepest expression of your own nature. So Dogen Zenji was a Japanese monk who actually brought Zen from China to, he was Japanese, he went to China, came back with Zen. In China, Zen had been around for a while. It was called Chan, C-H-A-N. And this was in the 1200s. He wrote, to study the Buddha way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be actualized by myriad things. When actualized by myriad things, your body and mind, as well as the body and mind of others, drop away. No trace of realization remains, and this no trace continues endlessly. So that could be a whole talk right there, breaking that down. But it's something I've heard and read and listened to talks over the years, and it's just a lot to digest because it's so hard to break away from the thought of self. And so, let's see here. There's something else that came from this foreword was that the word Tathagata in Sanskrit is a word that we hear a lot in Zen Buddhism. It's the name for Buddha, which means the one who has followed the path, who has returned from suchness or is suchness, thusness, isness, emptiness, the fully completed one. So a lot of people, including myself, kind of recoil from the emptiness part of Zen. And recently I heard a podcast from a teacher, a Buddhist teacher, who translated emptiness to boundlessness, which is something that's a lot more palatable for people to grasp. I can deal with boundlessness a lot better than emptiness, so I'm going to go with that. The other thing is just this is it, and think about that phrase for a while. Just this is it, this moment, suchness. So thusness, suchness is referring to the nature of reality free from conceptual elaborations and the subject-object distinction. So, I thought about this, and what came to mind for me was an experience that I had early on in my practice back in like 2017. the Zen Center that I was attending in Cleveland, Ohio at the time, was they had a half a day sit. They call it Zazenkai. So it's just sitting. So it was from 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. And it was 25 minutes of Zen meditation, 10 minutes of a kinhin, which is a walking meditation, a very slow walking meditation. So that just repeated, 25-10, 25-10 from 11 to 5. And I thought, I'm going to go. And, maybe I'll stay for an hour. They're like, you can come and go whenever you want. Just we ask that you come or go during the walking part of the meditation. So I got there, and the priest asked me if I would mind being a timekeeper for one of the period, for 1 hour. And I said, sure. And he said, okay, how about from 1 to 2? And I didn't freak out, but I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do an hour. And he goes, okay, if you can't, that's fine. So I ended up staying the entire 6 hours, which I couldn't believe it. And it wasn't just because I was trying to I'm a people pleaser, so that might have had a little bit to do with it. But, I just stayed, and I had that experience of that, I don't know, that just this is it, that suchness, thusness that I read about today. That just being present. It was raining all day, and I was sitting right in front of this window that was open a little bit, and I don't know what it was. It was my moment of just being wow. I didn't have anything planned for that day anyways. I didn't have to go anywhere, be anywhere, do anything. And I just sat there and practiced not thinking, and think of not thinking or focusing on my breath, and the day just went by, and I don't know, it was just a really beautiful experience. And that's one of the things that kept me coming back, having that experience. I'm like, so, and then on top of it, they tell you there's no object to this meditation. It's an objectless meditation. So there's a lot of dichotomies. I'm like, but I feel great. So having that sense of freedom and liberation that they talk about. So another thing that came to mind about this being present in the moment, just this is it, was I wrote down how many people remember what was so important that they needed to do. Well, I guess my question is, how many people were busy today? Most people busy? Have a lot going on? I'm retired and I was busy. I don't know where the time goes. I don't know when I had time to work. So how many people remember what was so important that they needed to do on April 15th of 2019, 5 years ago? Or on April 15th, 2023, 1 year ago? Or even last Monday. Do you remember what was so important? But at the time, often we're so caught up in our heads and in our, what's going on and things. So Zen meditation, at least to me, it gives me an opportunity to slow down, put all of that whatever's going on hold and just be present right here in the moment and listen to the cars drive by, the birds sing. If I have my hearing aids in, I can hear the birds. But planes fly overhead, you know. So, and then also, it's not just in Zen meditation that we have an opportunity to get that experience. Like, some people get this experience of dropping off of the self when walking in nature or painting, cooking, studying, working. So you just become the knitting or the biking or the pickleball. I played pickleball, I was so into it. But so anyhow, I think I've said enough. We'll go back to meditating for maybe just about 10 minutes, and then we'll do a dedication of merit and wrap up. is a common type of closing in Zen centers or monasteries. Dedication of merit. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to save them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to put an end to them. The dharmas are boundless. I vow to master them. The Buddha's way is unattainable. I vow to attain it. So we'll have some announcements from Meredith. And thanks again to everybody for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm tonight's host Meredith. We opened the Dharma Bum Temple 17 years ago to introduce Buddhist practice to those who show up. Those who lead are not nuns, monks, gurus, masters, or teachers, and are not looking for students. They are simply practitioners sharing their interpretation of the practice. Every night we have different classes led by different people from various Buddhist traditions. We have a recovery sangha that meets several times a week for anyone with addiction, and our food redistribution program is every Thursday. We have classes and programs every day, and everything we offer here is always free. The full schedule is on our website and also posted in the entryway above the shoe rack. We have a lending library. If you see a book you like, feel free to borrow it and then bring it back whenever you're done with it. If you would please straighten your seat or cushion before you head out, that would be very helpful. If a few people could close and latch the windows, that would also be helpful. Thank you for being here. We wish you well, and we hope to see you all again soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. You do the toggle first.